Thank you for joining us for a demo of Reveal's advanced analytics, including machine learning, series forecasting, and more. Let's get started.
So now, let's get into a demo. Let me open up Reveal. And what I can do, and I was thinking of this last night, it was a little late, is I have all of these samples, my samples, in this analytics folder, and I don't have them anywhere online. We'll put them up on GitHub in the Reveal repository, and so you can just grab them. And then, like, for example, if we look at a Python, or actually any dashboard, so if I go to the manufacturing dashboard here, let me move this out of the way, and I click the three dots and I click Save As. Whoops, nope, I don't want to, I want to export it. Sorry, I get those mixed up. I want to click Export to Dashboard. So I'll export these R-dash files. So then you can grab the R-dash file from GitHub, and then you click here and you just say upload, and then you'll get the folder. I could also share it with you, but once it's shared from me, that means like we're kind of tightly coupled on this. And if I delete it one day, you're kind of out of luck. So it's better, since you're in your own environment, you can take these and learn from them. Before, though, I show the analytics R in Python, let me give you a sneak peek of something that we're shipping in a couple weeks. So we are, if you didn't update yet, we've shipped the tree map, which was last month, but now we're shipping the geospatial map. So this is cool. You'll be able to do choropleth maps, scatter maps. In your SDK, you can use Bing, OpenStreet, Mapbox, Esri, Leaflet, you name it, from a tile source. So within, the next few weeks, you're going to be able to do some pretty awesome visualizations with maps. And the cool thing is, just like any other component or visualization in Reveal, if I go to edit, like this guy here, we've got a nice graph. We have all these settings. So maybe you don't like these colors. Maybe you want to do a purple map. We've got some different color ranges that you can do. You can show labels when it has values or no labels. It's pretty cool. Here, if I want to do the values like so. But anyway, that's a sneak peek. So if you've been waiting for us to ship geospatial maps, your wait is almost over. So let's go now and take a look at my analytics folder, and I have an R and Python folder here. So what I'll do just to kick it off is I'm just going to create a new dashboard, and I'm going to use the sample data that ships with Reveal. And I'm going to show you real quickly, before I go into some pre-made demos, how to do this yourself. I'm going to grab the manufacturing data. And if I do a peek of the data, there's a field here called units lost that I want to actually do a summary by. And I want to put this into a histogram over time. So I am going to select that data, and I end up here. So I want to do date, and I want to do units lost, like so. And as I showed in the slide deck, what you can do here is select your scripting. So here, if I click R script, for example, and I go to settings, these settings look different than what you saw in the map or in a normal visualization, like where you had colors and legend and all that other stuff. Basically, what you have is a couple things here: show title, edit the script, or update the interpreter path. So when you click update here, we will attempt to auto detect the path. This is something that in the SDK you would force, so you don't have to worry about it. But when you're using the WPF app, like you download the desktop app today and you want to try all this stuff, if we don't auto detect it, just browse to the path that you are actually using for your R install, and everything will be fine. So I'm going to click edit, and this looks just like what we saw in the slide. With R, I'm not using any additional libraries because all of the visualization libraries are built in. So to do a histogram is super easy, and I'm just going to copy this field here. So I want to do a histogram of sum of units lost. So we're actually passing the fields that you dragged into the column. So if you wanted some other column, just drag them all in, and then you have these available to you. So I'll click the checkbox, And just like that, I have a histogram. So you can see here that the default R histogram looks pretty good actually. But you know, histogram of data set, sum of units lost, data set, sum of units lost is my x-axis. Frequency is okay, and it's looking at some numbers here. But just to show you that we are dealing with real data here, let me go back to data. And if I go to take my sum of units lost and I add it to a data filter, I can set rules on this. So I can say above average equals, you know, top percent. If I say top 20% of these guys, it'll reflect the data values here. So it looks like the top 20% are the ones that have the biggest units lost. If I get rid of this guy and I add a date filter, and here I want to do a filter by rule, and let's do the last 30 days. I'll create the filter. And again, it's kind of like one big blob, but you'll notice that my date is dealing with a year aggregation. If I click the date aggregation, I have a histogram which shows the last 30 days. Now we're getting somewhere. This is kind of what I wanted to show my manager. And kind of give them the heads up that, you know, we're losing a lot of units here. There's a frequency of 6 units being lost, or 200 units being lost more than 6 times. That's pretty scary. But let's go and customize this a little bit more. So one of the things you can do, and by the way, I'm not an R expert, but what I did, and I'll drag my browser window over here, is I did a Google search and I said, how to do a histogram in R. Lo and behold, I end up at this website, tutorials point, and I'm like, oh, okay, hist, that's cool. Data, main, I don't even know what this stuff means, but guess what? They're showing us right here. So what do I want to change? I want to change my X label. I don't really need to change my my data limitation, though I could. I can change the color, I can change the title. So all this stuff is right there for me. I don't even have to guess. And even better, on this guy here, there's some code that I could just copy. So if I want to change the color to yellow and the border to blue, I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to add a comma and paste this in and hit the checkbox, and lo and behold, there is my histogram. And we remember that I wanted to change the title. So the main title is going to be units lost last 30 days. Oops. DAYS. And my X label is going to equal units lost. And I already have the close parenthesis here, and that looks like it's all I need. I click the checkbox, units lost last 30 days, units lost. And of course, yellow is really not our brand. Our brand is green. And all of our borders are required to be red. And Tobias, Dr. Tobias Kamishki is on the call. He is one of the contributors to our Hall of Shame for all those data visualizations that I showed you last month. And I think he says that green and red do not go well together when you're trying to read charts. But that's okay. I'm going to click this, and we're done. Now, the great thing is I'm going to click this checkbox here. We'll change new dashboard to test histogram, like so. I'll check the box, and I'm going to change this to leave it at test histogram. So now I'm back here in my visualization. Here's test histogram. I can click share. And the nice thing is I've already shared this whole folder here with Casey. So in her reveal, it just showed up and she can view it, you know, and because she has all the prerequisites installed. Now, if you're doing this within your app and the SDK, all your users will magically get it and be able to view it. So let's just go through a few examples of some of the things that you can do with R and Python. So this is a dashboard using showing an area chart, but I have a tree map in here, a scatter chart. Here is our area chart. If I click edit, and I click edit on this guy, I'm in the editor. I have date, spend, and budget. Now let's go and look at our code. This is exactly what I had pasted into the slide. So if I get rid of this line, the one where it said color green, and I hit the checkbox, you'll be able to see that the area chart is blue, and I've only got the one axis or one series now showing. But you'll see that I've imported in some libraries, or Reveal's done that automatically. But again, it's one line of code to actually make this visualization work well. And it works well across all of my widgets. So if I hit the checkbox here and I go to my filter, now I'm not actually sure about the date range here. So let me go back a few years. I'll say 2011, January 1st. And let's go to 2020, July 8th, and I'll hit apply. And you'll notice that my area chart updated as you would have expected it to update, because we are dealing with the data that's in the visualization. So all of my widgets updated when I did a date filter on the visualization. Let me show you something. Oh, I had mentioned the heat map before. Now the heat map is a little bit more advanced. There's a little bit more code, because what we're doing is we're dealing with a matrix. Whoops. Let me go back to heat map and click edit. And I'll click edit. And you can see here, it renders nicely. I'll go to my settings, go to edit. So we're doing a little bit more data shaping here. So the data that's coming in, we're using the campaign ID and the territory, and we're doing some data shaping, creating the actual table, and then we are rendering the table out. All you need to do is copy this actually from here down, change your field names, and you will have a heat map just like this. So it's actually pretty sweet. Click here. Now let's take a look at the word cloud one. Oh, that was in R. Before I go to R, I'll finish up here. This is actually neat. This is a 3D library called MPL3D. And this is a boring column chart, but what MPL3D does is it has a little toolbar here. So you can do things like activate panning and zooming within the data. You can use your scroll wheel to scroll in and out and then pan and zoom, and then click the home button to get back to the visualization. This guy here is using the same rendering library. Now notice I'm not doing any 3D. I'll show you the 3D in a minute. But this is neat because this one's pretty advanced. It's actually doing, and it's updating the spline chart based on the hover events in the scatter chart. So here I am going to zoom in. I'll do a range select and zoom in, and I will deselect that. And now when I click and hover, you can see that there's some pretty cool stuff going on. Let me click edit. I'll click edit, and this one's neat because I mentioned earlier that we are using not only a library, a Python library, but we have injected a mouse JavaScript for mouse events and hover events. So you've got Python, you've got a third-party plugin in MPL3D and JavaScript, which to anyone on the call, you're thinking, does that mean I can literally do anything that I want? And the answer is yes, because look, when you think about Plotly, MPL3D, and other libraries, they are rendering to HTML. We support rendering HTML because, of course, we have our own DIY visualization JavaScript bridge. So anything you can do, you can do. All right, so now sticking with our 3D library, let's go to pie charts. Date, heat map, interactions, map, sand key. I don't know where my pie charts went. Oh well, when I find them, they might be in another folder. We'll get to them. But before I go to R, let's show two other really cool ones. We talk about data stories. Nothing tells a data story like a sand key diagram. look at this thing. You've got the ability to click and hover, get all the information that you need. It resizes beautifully within the browser, or within Reveal, so as I resize, so this will pretty much render anywhere. And this is actually using Python with D3 to render in Reveal. And of course, you get a nice a toolbar with it, and this is using the Plotly R library with D3. And then finally, some maps, which this is actually cool. We talk about data storytelling. I want to really kind of communicate to my team the growth of Walmart stores since 1962 and the regions where we expanded. So this is great. It's showing a map for every year since 1962 to 2006. And very quickly, you can see that, it looks like Walmart must have started somewhere in, is that Arkansas? Yeah, I think so. And then we go through a lot of South, Midwest, Southern Midwest, more South. Wow, Walmart, 1981. Good luck if you worked at Amazon, but they weren't there. But in Seattle, there's no Walmarts. Now Walmart explodes. And now it was really in the 90s where Walmart made a push to the West Coast, and now they're basically everywhere. And then you can see here at the bottom, we've got new stores per year. So there was a spike probably in the mid 80s, and then the cumulative sum continues to skyrocket. But what I'm doing here is I'm combining Reveal visualization, so the total stores by state, openings by year. So I want to get the actual, like 1984, there was 99 new openings. 1990, there was 178 new openings. I can't tell it from the map, but the map gives me that real quick overview, which then I can go ahead and start to investigate further with the other visualizations. So very cool there. So let's take a look at R real quick. Here's my word clouds. Sorry. So this is the one I thought was in Python, but this is using R, and it's using that data prep. And there's a couple other things happening here. You'll notice that the number of words in my word cloud is increasing, top 10, top 50, top 225. The colors are different as well because we were using the color brewer palette. But you'll notice here, this is the data that I'm using. These are just, that's the Twitter API. You can go grab it for anything. You could actually make this your own feed, copy this dashboard, change it to your company name or your name, and you can get a word cloud. This guy has a few different items. So let's take a look at oil prices and what are people talking about. Oil price and a lot of other words, update, average, make, Brent, COVID, Brent, etc. Bitcoin, is there a lot of action on Bitcoin? Everyone wants to know price, okay? And how about COVID? COVID, positive people, home, new, pandemic now, tested. These are the top 10 words being, in Twitter today for COVID. But let's go back to Infragistics. And now it'll just update. So let's edit this guy. And you'll notice here, click edit. I am using the REST API with this. So here it is, API twitter.com, 1.1 search tweets, and then we're passing it the query. What's the query? The query is the parameter we're sending, COVID, Infragistics, etc. This is everything I get back, but I just want the entities back. So I load that data and I end up with text. Then if I go into my settings, into my script, this is where there's that data prep code, that dot that I had in the slide. It's showing you all of the stuff that you can do, or just an example of what's possible with data prep and scripting in the controls. So it's a string. We got to get this string into something useful and meaningful. I got to remove punctuation, and then I got to count words and blah, blah, blah. Well, this is everything that's happening here. And then finally, I just tell it to do the word cloud. The way that we're doing like 10, 50, 225, this particular word cloud library has a .words property. And then I mentioned the color brewer palettes. So there's the color brewer palette 8, comma, dark 2. And how do I know that? So I would go to our color brewer palettes, and I would see here our color brewer. So I could change this to anything I want. We could change it to BRBG, capital B, small r, BG, BRBG. Now I'm going to click the checkbox, and I guess it changed. I kind of forgot what it looked like before, but that's as easy as it is to start experimenting and changing these yourself. So pretty cool. I really like the word cloud one, and it did change it. So that's how it looks. So it did actually change it to something different. I'll discard these changes, and let's look at pie charts. I promised a 3D pie chart. And again, you probably only use this in desperate situations. This data is not that great anyway, because it's very similar. But I was just throwing this together last night. And if I click edit, you can see here, this is all I have to do is I say pie, because I want a pie chart, and I want to see sum of spend by territory. And that's it. So now when we look at this, this is the default render for the pie chart in R with those are the default colors. Now, if I edit this visualization, you'll notice it's slightly different. I have sum of spend. Now I'll click edit, and I'll go to edit, and pie, same data, main title, spend by territory, and then the colors, I want to use a rainbow color palette with the number of items in sum of spend. So it's just going to keep adding colors based on that. And then campaign spend, you'll notice, is different as well. It has percentages instead of values, and it has a legend. So let's go to edit here, click edit, and you can see it's just a little bit more code. Now, again, how did I know this? Well, I was over on the R website, and I looked for pie charts, and I just copied this off. And you'll notice here, like X in labels, basically that's our value. So X is the sum of the values. Labels are the category, so it's the string value. So X goes first, labels goes second, and then I get a pie chart. You don't have to save it off. You don't have to do any of that. We do the publish for you. So you just type in pie and then the values. Then I scrolled down, like, oh, okay, that's cool. Scrolled down, copied it, pasted it. Oh, there's a pie chart. How cool. Well, how the heck did it do 3D? Well, it's using a library called Plotrix. Oh, okay. How do I install Plotrix? Well, what you do is you go to your C drive, program files. I mean, there's several ways to do this, but if you're new to this, this is the easiest way. I go to bin, and I open up rgui.exe, and I type in install.packages, and I'm going to type in Plotrix, like so, and hit enter, and it's going to say, oh, well, where do you want to get it from? It doesn't really matter. I'll get it from Iowa's thing. And now it will grab it. And now I can do 3D charts. That's as easy as it is. Now, in your SDK install, you would do all this automatically, right? So your users would never do this. You're doing it to set things up and to test and all that stuff. So anyway, that's how easy it is to actually get started and just kind of cobble your way through putting things together to tell the data story that you're really trying to tell with Reveal. Box plots, this was another neat one. This is using mileage data and cylinder data over time. It's a CSV file, and so it's showing you the miles per gallon within an error bar, essentially, a box plot by cylinder of engine. And this guy does a little sort of nice visualization on top of it. And if I go to edit this guy, it's a CSV file. You'll notice it's just 2 rows, MPG and this number of cylinders. If I look at the script itself, what I'm doing is I'm saying, you figure out the miles per gallon data set range, because that's what the box plot chart is supposed to do. I don't have to write a bunch of code to do this stuff. Pass it the data set and my labels, and that's it. Now I have a nice variant of what's the average miles within an error between 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, and 8-cylinder cars. And you can see a 4-cylinder will get you the most bang for your buck. All right, so that is all we have for demos. Like I said,
Be sure to check out our other video series and learn about topics like embedded analytics and data visualization best practices. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Reveal BI.